A lazy one. I came home one night to find a burner phone hidden in our bedroom. It was passcode protected and had a message alert. My wife denied it was hers and made some of the dumbest excuses to cover it up. Once she admitted and gave me the code, there were several pics of the same dirty man and also just as disturbing several random pics of his life and times. It was a former boyfriend she reconnected with at a high school reunion. For the next week she told me how he contacted her and mailed her a phone. It never added up. In the end it was her idea and her phone. The pictures go back to August 2019 and she just contacted him on August 2022. I took the phone from her near that time. There did appear to be months-long period of no contact during those 3 years, possibly up to 6 months. There were only 24 pics and less than half were dirty. She swears there was never anything physical and she never met him. She said this was an occasional hi and she never went further. She did admit to sending pics of herself. Of all the stupid-sounding lies she has told, she has been genuine in her insistence in counseling, and to me it went no further. What hurts, it was such a long time. A little background. This was after 18 years of marriage, 2 beautiful great kids, 18 and 16, no money problems, great friends and family, worldwide trips, owning businesses together. We shared long walks, quiet times, and honestly a great, frequent and passionate love life. We even talked about couples who had affairs, and she was so firm that you just can't put yourself in those situations. Even the counselor is at a loss for triggers. Why risk so much? She even said he is not that interesting and they never talked, just texted. She refused his offers to meet. So, is this as bad as it seems? Is this the equivalent of a married guy using videos? Can somebody who cheated, lied and hid for 3 years, great years, ever really be trusted? This was not a weekend mistake. Honestly, I have no gauge here. Comments. She's been lying to and deceiving you for 3 years. She even trickled truth and lied to you after she was busted. What on earth makes you think you have the whole story and complete truth now? They always only admit what they have to. If you hadn't have found that phone, she would still be going along full steam. What you see is regret over being caught, not remorse. Big difference. 3 years is a long time for a guy to just text. Get her to take a polygraph for your own peace of mind. OP responds. She went with 3 girlfriends to the reunion. She saw him there, but never again in person. She has sworn this to our counselor, friends and me. She states she wants to be clean and rid of the lies. We have begun counseling. She has insisted I confide in friends, trusted confidants, privately. She gives me her phone, email, etc. But hell, with Viber, which we all had on our phones, you can hide anything. I want to move forward and work this out. We have too much to lose. The kids, the future, family, businesses. She has committed to finding herself out and working to change. She has problems with compartmentalizing and think of this as an end. She is a wreck now. Oddly, to move forward I have to be her biggest cheerleader. Our future depends on her changing and me forgiving. She has been adamant that this was never physical, never a meeting, no lunches, no gifts. I know it seems odd that there is no more. This was her safe thing and she didn't want to go further. It was a sneaky high, according to her. She is wrecked that something so basic and trivial in need could have ruined her life and marriage. Then we really started to open up on our discussions, to answer some questions from other posts. She does not love him and doesn't really know much about him. The texts were not daily, weekly or even monthly from what I saw. She has no interest in him as a person. They never got deep or spent time together. No phone calls, no gifts. She has told no one and none of her friends, even from high school. No, I am not close to her high school friends. So, she has done something in which she didn't think of the consequences. She didn't consider me or the kids of her life as it was. She compartmentalized this. It was a high and a rush, but nothing more. She didn't want more than that, all according to her. All hard to believe, and I struggle with understanding, until, yeah, I have been to clubs with friends, and recently, not just sitting at a stage and tucking a buck. But hey, it's only a club, in and out, nothing more, compartmentalizing. Private room in the back with the women, didn't walk back there thinking of the kids, very heavy petting, never thought what my wife would be hurt, denial, minimizing. It was fun at the time and then it was over, hi. I have done it more than twice, no one-time mistake. Would I have done it again if given the chance? Probably. I told my wife I went to the clubs, but I never went into details. She never asked, so I didn't tell, hiding. So, none of that is an excuse, just give some insights to the things she did and felt. But, the strip clubs were not a person I knew. We just decided to go last minute, no planning, no attachment. Some more background. My wife is all that now, success, education, friends, no money worries, great kids etc. Back in the day she was not, self-conscious, not the good-looking one or the cheerleader etc. He was the big man on campus that she couldn't get or he didn't give her the attention. He went through a divorce during this 3-year period, doesn't have a real job, no kids etc. She says he just seems simple. She states that was part of the power and the high, she has it over him now. She didn't want the relationship. It seems more of a look at me now confidence trip. I felt very confident walking out of the strip clubs, maybe a little guilty. She was deleting the messages after reading them. No call logs. There were 23 to 24 pics saved. Last text from him, when can I see you? She is adamant that means, give me a pic. She lied to protect herself in panic in the beginning. From therapists, nobody comes clean on the first pass. She made it seem it was him who started it and mailed the phone to her twice. I called him, texted him, threatened him with looking into obscenity charges, mailing unsolicited dirty images. Had a $12 an hour attorney drafting a restraining order, etc. Well, when she came clean, it was mutual. I told him to back off, but there would be no lawsuit, etc. He finally contacted back and apologized and pledged to never try and get involved again. She has sworn she has now come clean with all details and that it feels good. She says it is a stress relief to be done with it, knowing she now has a lot of work to do on herself and our marriage. My comment: your WW is devastated because she lost the person she felt was her soulmate, and she is mourning losing someone who gave absolute meaning to her life. I'm not exaggerating. You have to understand that the addiction your WW had to the OM was at least as intense as an addiction. She might try to say she is sad for betraying you, but much more she is heartbroken over her losing the OM. You need to think what you are going to feel 5, 10, and 20 years from now if you stay with your WW. This is why getting a polygraph now is best, because the fact that she is lying to you still means you will never recover completely or none of those thoughts when you look at her. You are just delaying the unavoidable divorce. Story 2. I am an idiot. I'm stupid enough that I probably deserve this. I have been cheated on before, so I shouldn't have been so oblivious. I can't get anything right and can never be enough. I have been married to my husband for 5 years. It feels too early to be writing about this. Not like it would somehow be better if we had been married for 10 or 20 years. My husband, who is supposed to love me, has cheated with multiple women. He has slept with 3 women during the short course of our marriage, all in the last 6 months. During that time, we were trying to get pregnant, and succeeded. I don't understand how he could try and create a family with me while screwing other women. He said the stress of TTC made him cheat. I shouldn't have made the bonding just about TTC and should have paid more attention to his needs. I had no idea that he was cheating. What kind of wife can't tell when something is up for months? I guess I'm just an idiot and he's right. I wasn't paying any attention to him. If he didn't tell me about it, I never would have found out. He was man enough to tell me what he has done and wants to work on our marriage. I just wish he would have been man enough not to cheat. He wants to have a good marriage and bring this baby into a happy home. How am I supposed to move on from this? He took the first steps, he told me, and wants to fix the marriage, but I can't hold up my end. He has given me full access to his computer and phone, and always tells me where he goes. But I still worry all the time. It never ends. He works nights and I stay up all night worrying about what he is doing, if he is talking to anyone. He put a program on our phones that lets me see anything he does on his, like texts and calls. All night I can't sleep and obsess over who he was with and what he did with her, them. I cry all the time. Every day when I'm at work I worry non-stop. When he doesn't text me constantly, I worry about what he's doing. I can't stop obsessing over what he did with other women. Why did he like them? Why were they better than me? Why were they worth risking our marriage? Why were they worth hurting me? What did they talk about? Did he tell them things that he hasn't told me? Were they more attractive, smarter, funnier, more in common, better in bed? Where did he touch them? Where did they touch him? Was the physical part good? What was it like? It just never ends. I don't know how to be okay and make this work. I've lost my family once. I can't do it again. I have a son from a previous relationship. He is in middle school. I was with his father for 6 years and he left me for another woman after having an emotional then physical affair. He is still with her, happily married, 8 years later. I can't go through that again. For once I want to be enough. It's obviously my fault and I clearly suck as a partner. I just want it all to go away and to erase it. Sometimes I wish he never told me and just stopped doing it. I was neglecting our marriage and drove him away. He made the choice to cheat, but I obviously didn't help at all. I didn't even notice. He doesn't want to cheat again and feels terrible for doing it. He has said he won't do it again, but he promised when we married that he would always be faithful. I have a hard time trusting him after the trust was blown to smithereens. He has suggested marriage counseling but said he doesn't know how much it will help. He doesn't want a therapist to make our problems worse by over-talking it. We have to move on. We both wanted to get pregnant. My child from my previous relationship was unplanned and the destruction on that relationship was high. After that experience I would never plan a child without my husband being 110% on board. He has a daughter from a previous marriage and loves being a dad. He's very involved in her life and is a great stepdad to my son. He wanted this baby just as much as I did. It took us longer than we expected to conceive, but we didn't need any assistance getting pregnant. He divorced his ex-wife because he wanted more kids and she didn't want any more. He didn't cheat on her when they were TTC, but I guess she was better than me and more worth it than me. He said he has never really cheated before. The closest he got was sleeping with a woman who was in a relationship, but that was in his early 20s. I'm the first person he has actually cheated on. I suppose that is supposed to make me feel better, that he's not a serial cheater, but it makes me feel worse, because everyone else in his life was worth more. He knows that my ex cheated on me and left me for that woman. He knows how much that hurt and how hard it was for me to trust someone again. He put in a lot of time and effort to get me to trust him. I don't understand how he could do this. Everything we've built he ruined. He has told me that he cheated because there was so much stress at home. Around the time we started TTC, his hours were changed to all nights instead of alternating shifts. Custody with his ex-wife and their daughter changed, and she has been very difficult for the last year. He was stressed that I wasn't getting pregnant and was blaming himself, even though we both had no problem getting pregnant or getting someone pregnant before. I wasn't paying attention to him and the bonding was stale and just about getting pregnant. I was too focused on getting pregnant. But he never said anything. Ever. He didn't try to talk to me. Instead, he put his penis in 3 other women. I'm afraid to go to marriage counseling because I'm scared what else will come out. He promises he has told me everything, but it's the smaller details that I'm afraid of. On one hand, I want to know everything and I obsess over it, but on the other hand, I don't know if I could handle him saying that yes, he was more attracted to X, Y, and Z and they were better, funnier, prettier, sexier. I don't want to feel even worse about myself because I didn't realize he was cheating. He cheated multiple times and saw 2 of the women more than once, and I didn't have a clue. I don't want to go to marriage counseling and be told how bad of a wife and partner I was being. My husband said he would go if I thought it's a good idea. He told me 13 days ago. He told me because he felt bad and wants to fix our marriage before this baby arrived, and seeing the ultrasound made him realize how real it was. If I tell him to leave, that's just pushing him into the arms of other women. And I have to explain to another child why their father and I are not together. I don't want a divorce. I don't want a cheating husband either, but I already have that. His ex-wife hates me. I did some things as a step-parent that she didn't like, and now she refuses to talk to me at all. I don't think she would ever talk to me about their previous marriage. I think she would be happy to know that he cheated on me. She has said some really hateful things to me, even though I have always tried to be nice to her and stay on her good side. I don't know how much more I can handle to find out. I don't think there could possibly be more. It's already bad enough. What more could he have done? It almost feels like self-sabotaging to keep dragging out all the smaller details just to torment myself. I don't know what to do, clearly. I wish there was a magic memory erase button. My husband promised that no one other than the women he cheated with none of his friends or family. He said they weren't married and meant nothing to him. He doesn't contact them anymore and they were nothing more than bonding, nothing emotional. I don't want anyone to surface and tell me that they know about it or we're part of it. That would be a nightmare. I don't want anyone in our lives to find out about this. It will make it harder to forget and makes me look bad too. I either A, have no idea how to pick a good man and I'm a giant idiot who needs to live in a cave, or B, I'm such a crappy partner that no man will want to be faithful to me. I don't want our kids to find out about it. When my son figured out the timeline of his dad and I splitting up and his dad meeting his stepmom, he was extremely upset. I don't want to go through that again. Everything in my life just repeats. I don't want to disappoint my son and fail him again. My ex and I were together from 2008 to 2014. In those 6 years we never married or engaged. I wanted to, but my ex had no interest in marrying me and always had an excuse not to. The woman he left me for was an ex-girlfriend of his. For 3 years he had a long-distance emotional affair with her that I was unaware of, as he only talked to her while he was at work, through text and phone calls. For the last 3 months that we were together it developed into a physical affair and he left me for her. They married 8 months later and have been together for the last 8 years. While he was with me, he wanted a vasectomy. With her he had 4 more kids. From what I have seen, he treats her far better than he ever treated me. I wasn't worth the effort to him. I was 18 when I met him and naive. I had suspicions and saw it coming but tried to convince myself otherwise. I can't be left for another woman again. After we split up, I stayed single for 4 years, then got involved with my husband. I met my husband about 2 years after my ex and I split up. He was night and day to my ex. I'm going to say was, because it was all a lie and a show. He was kind, caring, honest. He was patient for nearly a year while I pushed him away and pulled him back in again before we got romantically involved. He said he didn't mind waiting for me to trust him. We have always gotten along very well. We laugh. I thought we were in love. I was far happier with him than my ex. He does spontaneous, romantic gestures. I didn't see it coming. With my ex, it was always in the back of my mind, and when the truth surfaced, I was extremely hurt, but I wouldn't say I was surprised. With my husband, I thought he was perfect, and we were perfect. Never in a million years would I have thought this would happen. He cheated for the first time almost immediately after our second wedding anniversary, in January of this year. We had been TTC for over a year at that point. It took 14 months. I got pregnant in March, but he kept sleeping with other women until July. The last time was July 23rd, when I was out of town for that weekend. He promises he never brought those women to our house. The thought of it makes me want to burn the place down. He confessed 1 week after the last time he cheated. I wish it had been further in the past. He knew I was pregnant but kept sleeping with other women. I don't understand how he could do that. Every time he has touched my stomach or talked to the baby, thinking back makes me feel disgusting. He kept sleeping with me knowing the risks. He promises that he always used protection, but he has always shown that his promises mean nothing. He chose to cheat on me over and over and over again. I'm due in December, which leaves only 18 weeks to sort out this mess. It took me years to recover from my ex's damage. Everything that he does isn't enough. He apologizes over and over and over and over. He tells me whatever I ask him. He has done whatever I've asked him. He's done things that I haven't asked him to try and help me trust him. I can't do this. I don't know how people cope with this, whether they chose to stay or leave. I don't know how I managed the first time around, and I don't know how I will handle it the second time. Every time I see a woman I wonder, was it her? This has resurfaced so much hurt that was left behind from my ex. My ex and I have reached a point that we are friendly with each other. It took years for the hate and hurt to stop every time I saw him. But now all those feelings are coming back. Today he is bringing my son back and I arranged for someone else to meet him because I don't want to see him. He didn't even do anything. I just can't deal with it. I haven't had an STD test. I have an appointment with my OB tomorrow for a checkup and to have an STD test done. I was told to wait 3 to 4 weeks because of an incubation period. I don't know. I've never had an STD. I have only slept with 2 men. I know I was clear of STD back in May, but that doesn't mean squat now. I assume my OB ran an STD test when I had all my blood work done, at least. But that was in May. My husband said this morning that we'll go to marriage counseling together. He doesn't think it's a good idea but will try it before me. I probably should go back to personal counseling. I'm a mess apparently. I don't think he'd go by himself. Maybe if I ask him to. I haven't brought it up. All I think about all day is what he's doing. I'm on break right now and this is how I spend my time rather than relaxing. He won't tell me. He says that I will obsess over trying to find their Facebook profiles. He said he doesn't know their last names. He promised that I don't know them and that he didn't know them either. He said he met the first one at a bar that he went to when we were fighting. The other 2 he said he met online from a dating site. He seeked them. He said he took down his profile and I couldn't find it anywhere. He told me about it though. Right? That has to be good for something. He tried to sleep with me last night. Of course, I denied that. It hurts that he tried. And when I turned him down my first thought was that he'd go to someone else so I considered just doing it. He's my husband and I love him. Maybe not right now. But I didn't see this coming and we were really happy. At least, I thought we were. Everything was perfect. Then this happened. I don't know what to do. I don't want a divorce. I don't want to lose my family again. I don't want to fail again. We live in Canada. My husband has been working more shifts to save money because we planned on me taking 18 months off work. The first 12 are paid, the last 6 are not. We've been using his income for savings and mine for expenses, so leaving right now would leave me with a lot less in the bank than my husband. My monthly income covers all of our expenses, so by the end of the month there isn't much left in my account. I don't know exactly what is in his as we rarely touch it. Until finances were sorted out it would be financially difficult. I don't even want to think about it. I can't believe I'm in this position again. He said that he doesn't care about them and they meant nothing to him. So why would he care if this was exposed to their husbands? I've asked him 4 times if the women were married. The first time he said he didn't know, the second time he said one was married and the other 2 were not, the third time he said none were married and the last time he said he didn't know. When I asked him why it was changing, he said because he honestly didn't know and wanted to give me the right answer. He didn't know what the right answer was and then felt bad for lying. He said it was just about bonding and they didn't talk about personal life. He promised he doesn't contact them and never will again. He said he never had the first one's phone number and has no way to contact her. He said he deleted the other 2 numbers off his phone and doesn't remember them at all. He lets me see his phone and I see what texts he sends. Is there any chance he's genuine about his remorse and promised to never do it again? He said that he either didn't know their number or deleted it and had no other communication. He met 2 online but deleted his profile. He told me the site, but he won't tell me anything about them because he says it will upset me too much and it's better not to know the details. Maybe he's right. Maybe I just need to forget about this and move on. He wouldn't have told me if he wasn't remorseful. He hid it for 5 months. He probably could have buried it. I wish he had. I don't want him to cheat again, crying I want to go back to how we were and be happy. He won't have to cheat if I can be better. If I tell people I look stupid for having 2 partners who cheated, choosing bad men is on me. I don't want people to know because then it will never go away. I want my family intact, crying I don't want 2 failed families. I don't want this baby to never have a chance at an intact family. I don't want to be that woman who has kids with 50 different men, none of which who want her. I don't want my son to go through another separation. He's close to my husband and my husband has been a very good stepdad to him. My ex favors his other kids and it has become very evident to my son. I am completely unable to pick a good father figure for my son. I don't know what's worse, being cheated on for no reason or being cheated on with reason. My husband cheated for bonding and stress relief. My ex cheated for love. He married that woman and he's still with her. She was an ex and he always loved her. For 6 years I sat in their way. My husband, he just wanted to stick his ex somewhere. I just want to be good enough and worth it. I cry all of the time. Today while I was at work my husband wouldn't text me back. It drove me insane. He said it was because his phone was dead and the battery was charging. He had it charging in our bedroom and didn't want to lay down and text because he'd fall asleep. But I don't know how to trust him. He's going to go to work in about half an hour and I'll be up all night worrying and crying. He's at work, but he can still text or call other women, or who knows, meet someone at work. I see all of the texts that he sends and calls that he makes, but I still worry. He cared enough to tell me about it and to answer some of the questions that I have. He cares enough to let me see his phone and computer whenever I want. Some people who cheat have to be remorseful. I don't know how to see his phone logs. We don't get paper bills anymore and they might not even show up if he hasn't contacted them in the last billing period. I can try to figure out how to get them. I wish I could just know for sure if he is telling me the truth or not. I want him to be, in the sense that I want to be able to trust him again. I don't know what I'll do if he has been hiding anything else or lying. I can't take anymore. I don't think he'd ever pay someone for a good time. It's legal here, I think, but he has always said how disgusting it is, even just a happy ending massage. He said the women were just looking for a good time. Could he have had actual relationships with them? He works nights, but he works with just one other man mostly. He's worked with that guy for years. When he's on call, he's around other co-workers, but they are all in the same area and they know he's married to me. I want to know if he told me because he wanted to and regrets what he did, or because someone else knows and he felt he had to tell me or was threatened to tell me. Wouldn't he have just lied about it though, if someone came out? He could have said they were lying, crazy, something. I want to believe he's telling the truth. It's bad enough as it is. I'm going tomorrow to be tested. My OB wouldn't test sooner because of an incubation period. The last time he cheated was July 23rd and I was told the results wouldn't be accurate immediately. I don't know what I'll do if it comes back positive for something, especially something that will affect me and, or the baby, possibly forever. That would be unforgivable. I trusted him with everything and he just threw it away. 2 of the women he saw more than once. He said it was a couple times or a few times with each of the 2. The first he only saw once. He promises that he used protection, but I know that he hates condoms and has always said that bonding with protection is pointless. I don't want someone to show up on our doorstep in 9 months saying he knocked them up. If it's not my fault and I didn't do anything wrong, then I have to accept that my husband is a terrible man and he's who I chose. Chose to marry, chose to be a stepfather to my son, chose to father my second child, chose to let into my life. He's who I deemed worthy. I'm an idiot. Smart people don't get cheated on in 2 relationships, marriage. I have always felt lucky to have him. He was night and day to my ex, at least I thought he was. He was perfect. Everything that I wanted I had with him. We didn't fight, we wanted the same things. He was nice, kind, caring, funny. He always cared about what was on my mind. He was amazing at making me feel better and always knew the right things to say. He was genuinely interested in my day and how I was feeling. He'd go out of his way to make me happy. He often did small romantic gestures that meant the world to me. He has been a very good stepdad to my son and a better father figure than my ex. He is attractive and amazing at his job, and yes, that is something that drew me to him, but that isn't the only thing I liked about him. Overall, he was as close to perfect as a human gets, or so it seemed. I miss what we had, and I know we will never get it back to where it was. Crying, he's at work for the night and all I can think about is what he's doing, even though he shouldn't be able to do anything he shouldn't. How many make the exact same mistake twice? I didn't feel this badly about myself the first time around. My ex sure has tried to blame it all on me, and I believed a lot of it, but I still didn't feel this badly. There was no part of me that really wanted to reconcile with my ex, not that he ever made it an option. I thought about it sometimes, but at the end of the day I was done. But we were not really that happy anyway. I was happy with my husband. Yes, we are all human and we all make mistakes, but I shouldn't have had to make the same mistake twice, nearly 8 years apart with 2 different men. After my ex and I split up, I went to therapy and stayed single for 4 years. I thought working on myself and taking time to be single would help and stop this from happening again. I can't handle this happening over and over just to grow. If anything, this just destroyed any progress I made after the first round. I know that he made mistakes, bigger than mine. If we're all human and all make mistakes, then shouldn't I try and forgive him and move on? For our marriage, and our family, and the vows that we took, for better or worse. He also vowed to remain faithful, but shouldn't we try? After having actually slept decently well last night, which is very surprising, the first thought I had when I woke up was that I want to reconcile. And that is still what is on my mind. I know that he shouldn't be blaming me so much. He chose to cheat rather than just talk about the problems. Maybe he's in denial and has to deal with that. I hate him, but I love him. He has never cheated before, if what he says is true, so he wouldn't really have lied about himself before I married him. He said he didn't think he would ever cheat. I know approximately what he should have in his account. It's not like he totally hides it from me. I use his card sometimes if I can't find mine or don't have it on me. I could probably figure out his bank login info. He always uses the same passwords. If I ask him to show me his account, I'm sure he would. He's not going to run off with all his savings and leave me screwed. We could switch it up and start using his account. We were only using mine because he doesn't know how to do payments and transfers. I've always kept track of it. He thought it would be easier to use mine. My husband agreed to go to MC. He said whatever I want him to do, he will do it. Is there anything that I should ask him to do? He's going to do marriage counseling and already gives me full access to his phone and computer. I told my husband that I want to start using his account for expenses and let mine start saving. I also said that I want to join our accounts rather than having them at separate banks. He said okay, but he didn't seem totally on board. He tried to talk me out of it for reasons that didn't make sense. When he tried to log into online banking, his password kept coming up as wrong. He tried to reset it and never got the email. It just seems sketchy. I have this sick feeling in my stomach that I can't shake. He said he was going to go into the bank or call and they'd fix it. To be fair, my password wasn't working either, but he knows mine and could have changed it. I don't want to think like that, but that's where my mind is going. I don't think he'd go that far, and for what reason? But that's where my mind wanders. He wants to fix the marriage. I want to trust him that he's being honest and genuine. If I look for reasons not to trust him, I could find them. Anyone could with anyone. I want to try. My comment: do you guys enjoy these wife-sided stories? I'm trying to provide a different side of marriage sometimes. Some of these don't have an ending because they are ongoing events. Do you have any ongoing relationship problems? Comment down, and I got a longer on for the afternoon.